That adds up.
Oh, man. Yeah, no fan was in the move. No fan was definitely the move. Feels much more comfortable in here now. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show. Let's go. Let's go. Look at us. Back here in Studio A. Back in our afternoon time slot. Man, it's just like old times, fellas.
Feels right.
Doesn't it feel right? It feels so good.
No, it's the BC times, before championship.
Man, those were dark times.
They were.
We'll never have to go back and live them again. Guys, we have a great show for you today. Not one, but two practices since we last discussed things with you. We got notes from those that are somewhat interesting. We also want to look at preseason starts tomorrow. Bowl versus the Denver Nuggets. Many people are billing it that way.
Is that the top storyline?
That's the top storyline. Also, Nurkic versus the Denver Nuggets.
There you go.
We're going to talk about what we want to see from all these guys. Who's the most interesting player in preseason? And what do we want to see from each guy? Should be a great show. To help me along with it, a guy wearing an extra large shirt. He's a medium-sized guy. Brendan Vogt.
Is anyone hot, actually? Can we get that fan going?
Really? Oh, my gosh. Look who it is. It's D-Line.
That's right, guys. I'm back for an indeterminate amount of time.
Are you back?
Are you back? I don't know what I am. I live in sort of like nebulous space where my time and my body don't belong to me, frankly.
Yeah. Well, I saw comments, over the last couple of weeks, like, is D-Line coming back? And I realized I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you mean P-line?
P-line.
Or P-Line. Yeah.
See, that's the worst part. Is that not only am I miserable, is that the world makes fun of me.
We missed you though. We missed you.
We did miss you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And then over there, the man with the wind beneath his hat, Harrison Wind.
I do know D-line will be here, or P-line will be here for opening night, which
Do
is
you?
coming up quick, man.
Do you know that?
I was going to say, is that confirmed or is that just rumor?
Which city's opening
that
night?
I
sources?
think I can confirm it. I don't know.
Well,
I'm excited to hear that.
yeah.
Good news
Still
to me.
hearing that news, Eric. In all sincerity, we had a great week of training camp last week. And I say we, I mean everybody watching the show, us here doing the show, and especially the Denver Nuggets. To me, and I don't know that you got to feel these vibes wherever you were in Philadelphia.
Spoiler alert, he did not.
I did
But
not.
Eric, I would say that my vibes were not too dissimilar from yours a week ago.
Sure.
But then I went to San Diego and I just spent time with Jokic. In the same building as Jokic,
They played backgammon together.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
I'm telling
That
you,
sounds great.
I can't wait till you do though, because I'm telling you,
Me
my
neither.
vibes are back to 100. We had practice yesterday during the Broncos game. We also had practice today. It was a pretty big media scrum. Harrison, I'm going to kind of throw to you. I have some notes from the last couple days of practice, but do you have some things that really stood out to you about? We talked to Zeke Nnaji, we talked to DeAndre Jordan, but we also talked to Michael Malone. Is there something that stood out to you from today's media availability?
Well, I mean, I would just go back to the overall vibe for a second, coming off a training camp into the first preseason game tomorrow. Can't believe we're already here. But I expected the Nuggets to be a little grouchy coming into training camp. I expected Nikola Jokic to be, a little homesick maybe, missing his horses, missing his family. Maybe he is missing those things, but the vibe I got all week in San Diego, the vibe I continue to feel today is that Nuggets are ready to go. Like Nikola Jokic is excited for the season. He's energized for it. I feel like the rest of the locker room is, and I feel like the Nuggets just have this sense of they're very satisfied with where they are as a team, and they're very confident about their roster and just kind of the overall mindset of the group. And I continue to feel that today.
Yeah.
I just continue to feel that this team's ready to go. And I don't know if I felt what I'm feeling now in recent years.
Well, here's what's funny, because we always talk about the classic Malone grouchy day of practice, right, of camp.
Yeah.
And last year we didn't get it, and it was a bit of a surprise, and they won a championship. This year, like today, Malone's first line, he's kind of busting my balls because every day I start off with, what's an overarching takeaway or, what stood out about practice today. And he's busting my balls about that, but then he goes, but in all sincerity, it was another great practice. I know I keep saying that. Like, he was almost embarrassed. He had to apologize that he didn't have bad news to share with us today from practice. He's like, I know I keep saying this,
but I mean it.
He's like, I know those DNVR guys always think I'm going to come out and blast the guys and call it a bad practice, but we haven't had a bad practice.
It would be wild to be able to conjure bad vibes when you're the current NBA champion.
Yeah. Oh, I disagree.
I actually think there was, so going back to training camp, I got a sense of almost pleasant surprise from the Nuggets. Even before we talked to anyone, I heard a couple of guys off to the side talking to each other, and they go, the energy was really good today. I'm like, yeah, it was. And not surprised because those 5 haven't done it before, but surprised because I think it's the easiest thing in the world to win a title and then come back. Maybe it's just not quite the same. But I think they're looking around and realizing, man, it's a different kind of eagerness, as Aaron Gordon told us yesterday. But it's still eagerness, and the guys are ready to work.
The reason I think it's a surprise is that there's the hangover factor is real. Short and off season, all these different things. You get back, and then this is training camp. This isn't the fun. This isn't the parade. This isn't the marquee matchup or the playoffs.
But
this is we're working on our defensive rotations and our closeout footwork.
But they've not one negative thing has happened in between the time that they went through the city drinking little bottles of alcohol that were thrown to them from the crowd. I mean, there's it's been pure vibes. I mean, it'd be like you really have to be like, all right, I'm going to be a hard ass. Like, I just have to be a hard ass. It's my official character. I have to put this mask on, and
I got to punch my teammates.
Like, hey guys, and trying to hide your smile. I mean, it's just.
Well, that's what we thought. Maybe it would be manufacturing a bad practice when there wasn't really one. But it wasn't even that.
And also, what was the note today about turnovers? There haven't been any turnovers. Usually the first day of practice, nobody's familiar. There's no chemistry. There weren't even any turnovers on the first day. We go to practice, everybody's protecting the ball.
Jalen Pickett, 10-1 assist-to-turnover ratio at training camp.
Rookies, we got rookies. They're not going to know anything. Rookies actually ahead of the curve and really locked in. And that's why I said surprise. And then, yes, I am surprised that Jokic, his mopey walk into the building, we all know he's playing a part, but the fact that he's been so eager to sort of be back and just is, again, dare I say, a little bit of eye of the Joker, as much as you can have one in training camp.
Yeah.
That, to me, is really exciting. So now how do you feel hearing all of that context that, hey, this is a team that even is surprising themselves with how locked in they are for 1 week of practice?
I love it. I'm not that surprised because you just this team is so legit. They didn't just it wasn't an accident. It wasn't oh my God. It was they're coming back. They're psh. It's they're like the seniors. They just showed up. All the younger underclassmen that show up, they're all nervous. The seniors showed up. They're this is our school. You just walk in. Everybody gets out of your way. I don't know. They're ready to take that leap. It's a thing that we were hoping was going to happen. I'm not really that surprised that they feel that way. I mean, I love hearing it. I mean, this is part of my off-season diatribe. I love that they're we're that's it.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with they're really good. And remember in the offseason we talked about how could Jokic have his best season yet? It would have to be that he enjoys the ball is popping and he's having fun. And that to me is one of the things that just stands out about all of this is I think the team loves playing basketball the way that they do. They come back together and immediately play basketball like that. And they're oh, this isn't hard. We fell right back into the fun rhythm. And now there's just that excitement. Yeah. Some notes here. The starters will play on Tuesday. Outside of a few guys, Michael Porter, he was a lot more active today than he has been. He looks to me like he's healthy.
Should we say it, Vogt?
What do you got?
So Michael Porter's had this ankle thing. He had a boot on at training camp. He's out of the boot. He's moving around.
He's running around, I would say.
He's running around. Vogt and I were laughing about this today. We walk into the gym. Media gets led into the gym. Immediately, Michael Porter Jr. picks up a ball and starts dribbling it around the court. He was almost showing off for us.
No, I'm actually with Wind. I think the last 2 days,
Really?
Porter's been like, look, handle's good, ankle's good, no worries.
Working on my ball.
Oh, like he's
handling.
trying to show everybody I'm
Yes.
cool. Don't write the like, is he hurt?
Oh, totally, man. Totally.
Yeah.
He's been
All
like,
right.
look at this ankle, look at this
Yeah,
handle.
good for him. Like,
I appreciate it. I was like, thank you.
Also-
I'm not worried.
Also, jokes aside, picking up a ball and just running and dribbling, maybe the best thing Porter could do with his time. You know?
He did this. He was on the Stan Kroenke workout plan.
Yeah.
You know, Stan Kroenke at Nuggets practices at the end will just walk around the gym, just get some laps in.
Yeah.
So Porter was on today.
He does. Jokes aside, he looks good. There's no boot. He's moving around comfortably. So this is very much in the precautionary camp for sure, if you had any concern at home.
And Malone did say that we got 4 games after this one. There'll be more opportunities. So I originally thought maybe he won't play in preseason, like they'll be extra cautious. It sounds like he's probably
He's
if
not-
not
he-
Thursday,
yeah.
maybe Sunday.
He's
so.
not going to play tomorrow. Maybe Thursday, though. Maybe Sunday.
Christian Braun also has been getting treatment. It looks like on a calf.
It's his calf.
Yeah, calf, and I think sat out most of practice today. Malone said they weren't a whole lot of up and down. And then Jamal Murray has been dealing with a bit of a hamstring issue, which is the hamstring one to me is always scary. Why? I hurt my hamstring in January. Still hurts.
Dude.
Yeah, and you are a
World-class athlete.
world-class athlete in the prime of his athletic career.
Yep. So that's what scares me is we're the same athletically.
Right.
And that's a real concern. Another theme, second unit being up for grabs. Christian, the only guy who locked in. I did hear today, though, rumblings of who might be the 7th man. We know the 6th man. I think I have an inside track guy for 7th man. Any guesses?
I would guess Reggie Jackson.
Was not him, although I do think that he's pretty penciled in for early on, being the
It's a
backup
good
point
guess.
guard. It is a good
It
guess.
is a good guess. It was my guess earlier.
Take one more guess.
I would guess, oh boy, Peyton Watson.
Justin Holiday.
Really?
I think Justin Holiday has been the surprise. He was your training camp MVP.
I told you guys to buckle up.
I'm into it, man. I'm telling you. I was having this discussion with Matt Moore the other day. Last year, I loved Bones. The brightest timeline probably included Bones in some capacity.
It is
Nuggets
so-
lost him, and they won a championship.
Bro, it is so wild that was 1 year ago.
That was 1 year
Bones
ago.
feels
Right.
like a
Less than a year.
lifetime ago.
So true, dude.
But they lost him. Like, if you would have told me going into the year, yeah, Bones is going to really fall apart, and they're going to trade him for nothing, you'd be like, gosh, is it a disaster of a year? You're like, no,
yeah.
it's a championship. It's awesome, and everything's
the
great.
absolute brightest timeline you can ever imagine.
And I kind of feel the same way now about everybody outside that top 6, and including Peyton Watson, where I'm like, if he's the guy, he's going to be the guy.
yeah.
If he's not, he's not. And Justin Holiday being the early inside track to be a guy that's playing a lot of minutes says that could be awesome, actually. It could end up being a thing where it's like, oh, cool, so he's going to be the one that helps us win a championship.
I mean, Justin Holiday is coming off a great week in San Diego. I did call him the training camp MVP. And I feel like he definitely earned minutes last week. Like, the reports were that he shot the ball great, hit a ton of threes, converted at a crazy high percentage from 3, fit in with the starters, fit in with the bench, and that's where the momentum is right now. It's kind of behind Justin Holiday.
And I think it's maybe a prime candidate for something that fans really love to sink their teeth into, and we do on this show, is a player finding the best version of themselves, particularly in Denver. We just watched Bruce Brown do it. Aaron Gordon's the poster child for it right now. He's not a child. He's a grown man. Could find a different expression. But Justin Holiday might fit really neatly into this. As of now, it seems like a journeyman vet that maybe doesn't need to be in a championship rotation. But 3 months from now, it could be, actually, they've turned him into a 16-game player, and that'd be very fun.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of other players of intrigue, and I think the rookies have all... They didn't get a lot of shine in the early days of training camp, but they have over the weekend, over Friday at training camp, and then even today... Malone said they're all workers. And this is a line we've heard from everybody. They're workers. They're adults. They're mature. They're ahead of the curve, and that's by design. Strother, always in the right spot. Not just a shooter. Malone today, again, does he watch the show? Because yesterday you joked, or you have been joking about, Malone said, he's a shooter and he moves without the ball, which is kind of shooter adjacent. And he's like, he's not just a shooter. He's a defender. He plays hard. He knows where to be. He's smart. Hunter Tyson has a motor. All he knows is competition. He just plays hard and competes every second of his life. And then Jalen Pickett isn't a pushover. He goes at Jamal. He goes at Aaron Gordon. I heard an anecdote today about Jalen Pickett guarding Aaron Gordon in the post and getting a stop. You think about what a size mismatch that is. So just a very mature team. And that's just been, to me, that's the thing about it. I will say, starters looking like they did last year, awesome. Lock it in. Bench, I think, is going to be ugly again, guys.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a good vibes, lots of guys, but it's going to probably be a slog. But the overall vibe of the team is they understand there's a giant mountain ahead of them to climb, and they're like chomping at the bit and doing all the things right in this first steps.
Little bit of, this almost sounds alarmist, so I don't, little bit of 2 timeline talk, kind of, not quite the same, but there was an Malone talked about threading the needle, like you were saying, of it's not just winning every game now. Home court is important to them. It was important to that run, but they also want to make sure that these new guys, these young guys, are ready to go by the end of the year. And I also think while Malone's job is more one night, one game at a time than Calvin Booth's, there's a little bit of alignment there with the way Booth is addressing team building right now, which is the younger, more affordable guys, maybe more playable guys too, for younger players. And so there's a little bit of like, yeah, we got to get that going, right? We got to make sure that those guys are ready, because these 5, they'll be ready in June.
Yeah. There's a couple things on my mind when it comes to the bench right now. One is I'm buying Julian Strawther stock. I think he looked good in that scrimmage. I liked what I saw. You just hear a lot of positive things about him.
Yeah, I agree, yep.
I love his size. Julian Strawther has great size at the 2. Similar to Christian Braun, who also has great size at the 2. Strawther's like a 6'7" shooter, man. And I can easily see like his path to finding a role for the Nuggets and just in the NBA in general. Another thing I'm watching, backup center. I think Zeke Nnaji does not have that backup center position on lock.
Yeah.
Michael Malone talked today about how he trusts DeAndre Jordan. There could be some, maybe against some opponents, Zeke Nnaji is the guy.
Yeah.
Some opponents, DeAndre Jordan's the guy. I don't love that. Like, you shouldn't love that if you're a Zeke Nnaji guy. There just hasn't been a lot of hype around Zeke Nnaji throughout training camp, and I kind of expected there at least to be some, positive news about some of the steps he's taken. So backup center seems like we don't really know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Could be a bit of a timeshare. And then the other one is, what's Peyton Watson standing in the rotation? Because we've heard a lot of great buzz about Julian Strawther, or not Julian Strawther, but Justin Holiday. We've heard good buzz about Peyton Watson, but we haven't heard like Peyton Watson, has been locked into that 7th or 8th spot. Like he's locked into a rotation spot. We haven't heard that. That isn't the vibe I'm getting so far.
Right.
But it's a long preseason, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just struck by the idea that there are all of these young players that are then learning under the starting 5, which is just like so solidified, so workmanlike, professional. The fact that they're all workers. I mean, who's not having that said about them is like the Houston Rockets. Like they're just the idea that you have like Calvin Booth has
even the 76ers who have a veteran starting lineup and
totally.
Stuff, so.
But like you can like Calvin Booth like clearly targeted intentionally or not like high character guys.
They're very intentional.
And it's like heartening to hear that they are fitting in a way that it seems like they understand the assignment. They're willing to put the work in. If Harrison Wynn's banger of an article today is to be believed.
Must read, by the way.
Peyton
exclusive on PWat.
Yeah, PWat saying that he's watching everything that Jokic does, that he's like very interested in taking instruction from Nikola Jokic. I mean, like, why wouldn't you? Like, it just makes me excited that something here is being built that's just not for one season. Like, we're building something for the long term. Like, there's legitimate culture in place, and there's culture in play that can stretch well beyond just like this, however long this current regime lands. But like, obviously Jokic being the centerpiece, but just like, I love that there's an idea of a Nuggets culture is like so foreign and like so beautiful.
And I think it's just such a solid culture that it really does touch every corner. I mean, at training camp, that's the number one thing that stood out. Let's take a break. I have more notes from today that I want to run by D-Line. Since he wasn't around,
Yeah.
I just want you to react
Which
to a
one's
couple
D-Line?
things. He's this guy over
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Guys, the NFL season is going strong for teams not in Denver, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking up new customers with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week. Score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every single game day this October. I don't even know who the Broncos are playing next week.
They're playing themselves, in a manner of speaking.
Are they on a bye?
Isn't it the Chiefs on
They're
Thursday?
playing the Chiefs on Thursday. It's
oh,
going to be an
good
absolute
luck.
disaster.
They might as well be on a bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got the Chiefs. Oh, yeah. Thursday Night Football, right? Quick week.
Yep.
That's going to suck. But you can get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code DNVR only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.com. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems with gambling. Call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org. Please pay responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. License partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after assurance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Responsible gambling can be a lot of fun. It's more fun from your man or woman cave. We all love to have a good spot to watch the game. Or maybe you're someone who likes to make your office sports oriented, not just the TV room. Either way, FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise, and they've got your back with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. Think bobbleheads. We all love bobbleheads. FOCO. They're gonna help you get decked out, whether it's that man cave, woman cave, the office, or I don't know, you're decorating a set like Studio A. Shout out FOCO, the leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise. Go to for all non-sale pre-sale items, use the promo code DNVR for 10% off at FOCO.
Eddie, we are back. D-Line.
Yes.
The training camp was out in San Diego, and Hunter Tyson, in his free time, you got free time after practice?
Yeah.
He went swimming in the ocean.
This is Nuggets culture.
This is Nuggets.
You have free time, get in the water.
I just love the idea. Teams staying at a really nice resort, like the most beautiful resort ever. There is a pool, different things like this. Go swimming in the ocean. I just find it so charming.
Well, let's see. Is he from a seaside town? He's from Monroe. I don't know where Monroe actually lands.
Find out where Monroe, South Carolina is.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I would be like more. It would make more sense if he was like swimming in a swimming hole.
Yeah, like a lake.
A lake.
The shitty little
But I
pond.
like that. Like he's definitely like connected to the environment guy.
Sneaky Jokic companion potential?
Maybe.
They're both country boys.
They do like. Kel, did you see the photo I sent you? Do you have it ready? Back when I was in college,
Monroe is not by the ocean.
Not quite by the ocean. No.
It's very close to Charlotte.
in fact, this is a young 19-year-old Adam Muddas here on our team. I remember we went to San Diego one time.
Is that you?
We too went into the water. I didn't actually.
You're dressed like it's 30 degrees
Because
out.
it is 30 degrees, but the squad still wanted to swim. So I just say this to say this is such a 19-year-old thing. We're at the beach. We should go swimming. You're like, I don't know.
Oh
It's
my
kind
god,
of
dude!
cold.
Those pants of yours could be put in a time capsule.
They're
for
back
that era.
now. They're back.
Are you trying to tell me that person in middle frame is 19 years old?
Yo, this photo, man, this is a legendary photo.
Shouts to Jorge.
That person looks like they starred in Winning Time.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so hilarious that he was out swimming in the. I like to picture him by himself, just boogie boarding.
I just remember Clay in between games in the finals. He was like, "I need to reconnect to the sea." I was like the thing like maybe like actually fall in love with Klay Thompson was his connection to the sea.
Dude, I feel that way about the mountains. I need to reconnect every now and then. I really do. And then Aaron Gordon says the starting lineup, Eric, is so good because they genuinely like each other.
Yep.
And then he added, you don't always love your coworkers, right, guys? What
Right, guys?
What part of that do you connect with most?
Right, guys?
That we're so good because we all like each other, or you don't always like your coworkers?
Well, I connect with the idea. I have now a lot of coworkers.
Yeah.
I will say I like most of them.
Yeah.
I don't dislike any of them, but I think that
You probably dislike
the
one
starting
of them.
five here on the DNBA show works because we all actually, to some degree, like one another.
To some
We
degree.
do like each other. We also all dislike each other, so that's
Yeah.
perfect.
It works out perfect.
And we, shout out Dev,
Shouts to Dev.
who we all love.
All right, guys. Vote. I'm going to let you have some shine here.
Yeah, man.
Who do you? Sorry.
Sorry.
Who do you think is the most interesting player to watch in preseason?
I think it's got to be Peyton Watson.
I think that's probably right.
For me, you could also argue Reggie just because that's going to be such an important role, that backup ball handler, and it seems like he's expected to fill it and will play. So that matters. But I think you have maybe more questions about Peyton. You know, there's also some layers to the questions about Peyton. And the first one really is just, is he ready to play? And then there are those next levels of, some of us really want him to be the guy for that unit. Can he be the guy? Does he need to be that guy? And when you're still sort of answering the first layer of all those questions, I think that makes him a prime candidate for people are A, excited to watch him, but B, I think even, casual fans will be taking some notes. What does he look like?
If Peyton Watson is a guy, man, it clears up so many questions about the bench unit.
It's true.
If you can just pencil Peyton Watson in for 15 minutes a night, 15 minutes, maybe not even, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, that clears up so many questions. It clears up so many concerns. If he can be that guy immediately, like Christian Braun was, man, like you can feel so much better about the bench unit, I think.
Yeah,
And not just the bench unit right now, but the bench unit later this season into the playoffs, next season.
like that bridge between, if we like the bridge can be maintained, like the draft picks come in,
Yeah.
the old guys that were around like slowly move out, the new guy comes. I mean, this is how it should work if you're doing your job correctly as a GM, and it feels like that's what's happening. I mean, Peyton Watson is so interesting, like what's going to happen with him this year. I mean, you hear nothing but praise. We've seen good moments, and then we saw like also summer league when he's like left up to his own devices, how it can like really go off the rails. But I don't know, he feels like the right piece to be able to like him plus Christian Braun feel like a perfect replacement for Bruce Brown.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that Christian Braun was polished on day one. And I mean, he's an older guy. You know, he played at Kansas, he played in a national title game. To me, that's my big thing about Peyton is, even when we talk about the rookies, they're so polished. They've been around. He's still the youngest guy on the team.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's different is Christian, how hard was it for him to break into Malone's circle of trust, despite the fact that he was a guy that
Ready
came in
to go.
already ready to
Yep.
go? Whereas Peyton is a guy who hasn't played a lot of minutes. And that's why I agree. He's the most interesting player because I don't know what to expect from him. I think he's going to play a lot of minutes in the preseason. And I just want to see, is he making mistakes? Is he out of position? Because we know he makes spectacular plays.
Yeah.
I want to see, does he make mistakes?
I think he's going to be so dope. I'm putting my money on he's going to be so dope.
Right out of the package.
I think so. We saw him, like, he got very limited time last year.
At the very
and
end,
he
it
was
was
so
good.
dope. He just came in and was, like, defensively disruptive.
You know what's interesting,
and
though?
He was dope.
And agreed, like you're 100% agreed about the dopeness, but also tying it to Adam's question. Those were all these sort of kind of help side or roaming or late blocks near the rim, and it wasn't even his guy, where he can be an absolute terror because he's built like a pterodactyl. And he did that at UCLA. But at the NBA, too, maybe a step for Peyton is you'll see Peyton get blown by, and then he erases the margin, the distance between with his athleticism at the rim. At the NBA, maybe it might be a little bit more about staying in front of the guy, right? Being in the right place to begin with and less about erasing your mistakes later. That's not to say that's not a good skill. It's just there are polished, right? Like the way Christian Braun was a good defender is that in addition to the effort and the big plays, he was just in the right place at the right time. Every time.
Mm-hmm. I think he's the most interesting guy. I want to see what he does. How much do you think he's going to play, Wind, in the preseason?
I think he plays a lot.
Me too.
I don't see why he wouldn't play enough. I mean, 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Right. Some games,
this
I think
is the
30
time
minutes.
to stretch him out.
Yeah.
D-line, who's the second most interesting player for preseason?
For preseason?
Yeah, just for preseason.
I mean, from what you're telling me, I'm interested to see what Justin Holiday has to bring. Like,
so you're on board the hype train now.
well,
Kind of curious.
I'm not saying I'm
intrigued.
I'm like because of what I'm hearing and what it sounds like his role is going to be.
Do you know what his nickname is?
He watches the show.
Another
so of
Holiday.
course he does.
No, Big Government. I don't. What is his name?
No, that's Reggie Jackson. The fireman.
Oh, that's right. The fireman. What? Do we know
We're
why?
gonna ask him about this.
He
by
puts
the
out
way.
fires.
He's like, no, I literally am a volunteer firefighter.
I would believe it.
Like meaning that the other team is on fire and he extinguishes it?
No, I think it's like there's little problems coming up and he just puts them out. He puts out those fires.
Like on the
We
basketball
gotta
court?
find out.
I need
Actually, you're right. Either interpretation, he solves a problem or he extinguishes a hot shooter. Both kind of make sense.
Yeah, I think it's problem solver. From what I've heard of the origin story.
the guy I'm truly most interested in is Hunter Tyson, if I'm being honest. But
Why would you
in the
not?
context of I'm interested because I think, well, I know that Justin Holiday's for sure going to play.
Right.
So I want to see what that looks like.
I mean, he might be this year's Jeff Green, like a guy that is counted, like just pencil him in. And he actually, because I think there's this idea that he might be this year's Davon Reed, right? Oh, he starts, but it's up to so-and-so or whoever it might be, Zeke or Peyton, to overtake him. But it might just be that it's like, no, he's a solid player and he fits the team. And then on top of that, you know, I haven't heard Jokic talk about him. Have we heard Jokic talk about Justin Holiday at all?
I don't know if he knows who he is.
It's fair. Didn't come up when you guys were.
Anyway, I've heard Justin Holiday has shot the ball very, very well all throughout practice and training camp, and that he has a super high IQ and he just fits right into everything that people are doing. Yeah. Those two things would probably earn a stamp of approval from Yoke. I imagine that Justin Holiday plays a lot tomorrow and probably plays a fair amount with the starters. In fact, I'll bet he starts tomorrow, given that I'm not sure Christian will play. I'm not sure if Murray will play, and I'm not sure if Michael Porter will play. So I'll bet he starts, and I'm just curious to see if he can play some of that Jokic ball. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, let Wynn decide who's the next most interesting player.
Okay. I actually have a candidate for most interesting that we haven't talked about. Kind love,
Christian
guys.
Brown,
25%. It's not Christian Braun.
Just checking. I'm just checking.
It's not Christian Braun. Don't worry. It's not him.
That would be too good.
It's a great tease.
You get 25% off Kind Love when you purchase in-store with code DNVR. Kind Love is one of the first dispensaries in Colorado. Established in 2010, known for cultivating some of the highest quality cannabis in the state, authentic genetics, patient grow techniques, one of the highest quality brands in Colorado. You can visit one of the Kind Love stores in Cherry Creek or North Denver. Mention DNVR. Just say the letters DNVR. Get the DNVR exclusive discount, 25% off all Kind Love flower pre-rolls and their turbo joint line. You can also visit their website, kindlove.com, browse their entire selection there. Use that code DNVR for online ordering and to view their full extensive menu.
Man, there are so many ways to recreate in the great state of CO. Do it responsibly and do it with our friends at Breckenridge Brewery. You know we love our Breck beers at DNVR. Like the Broncos country. Let's ride. $6 at the DNVR bar.
I've been claiming that Avalanche Amber season is right around the corner for like 9 weeks.
The Mile High City will be
100 degrees still.
You really have.
No matter what season it is, which Colorado team is your favorite, or even if you're a true 4 for 4, Breck Brew has a beer for every occasion. And what I love is no matter how much they try to innovate or experiment, they never lose that core beer quality that I want when I crack open a cold one. Check out the beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a brew near you.
Breck Brew total, they're a 3 for 4 just like me. Not gonna lie. Broncos country.
You're a 3 for 4.
Nuggets,
What's that called?
They got Avalanche Amber.
He's out on the Rockies.
There's no Rockies beer.
They're like, let's just call this one Fun Slinger.
I might be a 2 for 4. I might be a 50%er.
That still would make you a great baseball player.
That would make you a good baseball player. All right, Wind, it's not Christian Braun. Who could it possibly be?
It's Reggie Jackson.
Okay.
It's Reggie Jackson because if the Nuggets want to win a championship this season, I think Reggie Jackson's more important than Peyton Watson or Justin Holiday.
I actually agree with that.
Wow.
The Nuggets can win another championship if Peyton Watson gives them nothing this season. They can. But they need another capable ball handler.
Yeah.
And Reggie Jackson right now is in position to be that guy. Maybe he plays with the starters and Jamal Murray doesn't play in this preseason opener. I think that'd be great for him. But I just want to see how Reggie Jackson looks. Yeah. And if he looks significantly better than he did last season when the Nuggets signed him off the buyout market and he just didn't play well. We know that. He knows that. So that is probably number one for me. How does Reggie Jackson look? Does he look significantly better? Does he look significantly more comfortable? Does he have more of a grasp of the Nuggets offense? Can he run maybe some of that first unit, but really that second unit throughout the preseason? I'm excited to see Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, like we're not that far removed from Reggie Jackson being super impressive with the Clippers in I don't remember who they played in the playoffs, but like he was like draining like very big shots. He was like extremely poised. He was like
Probably in the 2021 playoffs when the big government nickname was coined.
Yeah, but like we're not that removed. He came in last year and we all share the same sentiment. It was like, oh no, like
right, sure.
You like does he not have it anymore? But like I love the idea and listening to the interview you guys did with him, like him talking about like he didn't feel that comfortable and like there's so many parts of, especially when you're tasked with running the offense, of like having to think so much in a game that should be largely instinctual. And you're talking about shooting and rhythm things. Like if you're thinking about it, you can imagine it throws you off. He was throwing terrible turnovers, just a lot of stuff that felt like not indicative of the type of player he is. So I actually agree with you. I'm like super interested to see what he's like with a year under his belt.
Yeah, I'm interested in Reggie as well. I will say I disagree with the idea that just because I'm so high on Pickett, that I do think there's a chance there is another ball handler. I also know that Malone has been. Yesterday, he talked about Christian Braun bringing the ball up the court and being a second side ball handler. That was one of.
Did he?
Yeah. Did you not catch this one? Did you not catch this one?
Interesting.
So I am just a little bit more hopeful that there can be some other guys that can fill the Bruce gaps a little bit if a Reggie is, for whatever reason, this isn't the guy. Mm-hmm. That being said, I do think it's an easier path if he is the guy. After him, I'll give my guy. I think it's Zeke Nnaji. I'm a little worried. Yeah. I want to see but when we talk about preseason, I think we're going to see a lot of Zeke in the preseason. And I'm excited to see if he can hold up against some of these other guys. I just want to see, is he making shots? Does his shot look confident? To me, I know a lot has been made about the shooting form, the change in the hitch, and all these different things. To me, it's so much more about confidence with Zeke.
Definitely.
And shooting is so much about confidence. And this year, with both Reggie and Zeke, I think it's true. The early returns are going to be big for the later returns. If both of those guys get off to good starts, I think their season's going to have some momentum. If they get out to tough starts, I worry about both guys, but Zeke in particular.
I also think there have been so many good vibes and good stories out of training camp, and with good reason. I think a lot of it's real, right? We're telling you guys that we're hearing this stuff because we are hearing it. I do think,
not from one person. I don't want people to think it's like one guy keeps feeding us this
from Zeke.
It's from
right. No, it's a general sentiment.
No, it's players, it's coaches, it's
Justin Hall and his agent's been just on it.
Honestly, though, it is one of those things where like being on the ground in San Diego, even more so than the scrum quotes that you guys see, just being in the building goes a long way. I say all this to say, if you were going to crack your knuckles and really dive into something, we have not heard anything explicitly bad about Zeke at all. Is there a world in which we get to camp and it's, look, Zeke's going to be our backup big. He's earned it. That's the plan. I think there could have been that timeline was one worth hoping for, and it's not the one we're in so far. That book is not closed or anything like that. But so I think it would have been awesome to have heard those things, I think, in these last couple of weeks. And I think it's fair to say that it just seems like Zeke has plenty to prove right now.
Yeah. Is it funny, Eric, at all that tomorrow might be Bol versus Zeke?
It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
That's actually, we have in our mind what this looks like. I want to see Zeke do this or that, but he's going to be guarding Bol Bol.
Dude, it's Bol Bol and Keita Bates-Diop versus...
Oh, dude, I have so much on the line tomorrow.
Keita Bates and Zeke, actually. That's the real matchup.
Nurkic. Dude, I can't...
The script writers really were just nailing
in their
this.
bag.
Yeah, they were in their bag this preseason.
After this, Vogt, I'll go back to you. Who's the next most interesting guy?
Do we know if Christian Braun's going to play? Is he or he isn't?
But it can be for the preseason, so it's fine. I don't think he plays tomorrow.
I am going to say Christian Braun.
I agree.
I want to see not just what he's capable of, but what he's asked to do. Ball in his hands, things of that nature. Man, we've tried to avoid the pitfalls of muscle watch in training camp.
It's so. Let's go there.
Man,
let's go to muscle watch.
If there's one guy to me who I'm like, you look different, it is Christian Braun. And it's not the beard, although I appreciate the effort, Christian. Christian's legs right now, dude.
Yeah.
He looks like he's a different person. I'm
just glad I'm not the one saying this.
I'm giving
you were the one thinking.
Because then it might get a little weird.
Yeah, I think it's better if I say this for
Then
wind.
it would get weird.
Yeah, it's not weird when we're breaking down his calves.
Listen, I'm the calf watch guy. I notice, but
Male
all
form
jokes
corner.
aside,
Yeah, you are.
All jokes aside, Christian Braun to me does look noticeably different physically, and we've heard those things about his confidence. He's walking around like a second-year guy, like a champ. How does that translate on the court? We already know what he can be. We already know that can be a part of a title. Can he be something more, and can we see a glimpse of it now?
Yeah. No, on a serious note, like, how much has Christian Braun's ball handling improved?
Right.
Can he take on some of the Bruce Brown responsibility? Can he, grab a rebound, push the ball up the floor, and if nothing's there, can he pull it out and, start some offense? Can he do that? That'd be a big step for him. That stuff I think is going to be pretty apparent, just watching him in the first couple of preseason games.
Yeah, I mean, young players watching them year to year, there's it's a big deal first to second year, second to third year. Players take very noticeable leaps, and you kind of find out who they're going to be in this league in general. He already had an amazing season last year by any standards, but by the fact that he was a rookie, the fact that now going into the season that he had with the confidence of being a champion, walking around, as Michael Malone says, he's walking around with that swagger like he is a champion. And that you can just tell he hasn't, he's hungry for it. He wants more.
Yeah.
He's put the work in clearly, so I'm very interested to see how his skills have progressed outside of just his attitude, obviously.
Aaron Gordon gave a great answer yesterday when he spoke to media about what stands out about the rookies. He said they know themselves. And I thought that was such a great answer. They know who they are. They know themselves really well. I think Christian Braun does too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of times when a guy, you hear, he really worked on his handle this offseason, he has an improved handle. That could be the Paul George teaching, who was it? Jabari Walker, a 4-part behind the back side step shuffle fall away. I don't think that's what the handle Christian was working on this offseason. I imagine he was working on protecting the ball as he dribbles up the court.
I don't think you're going to see Christian Braun in that stupid New York City gym.
Please God,
Wind
no.
hates
Dude,
that gym
we
so
all hate
much.
that gym.
It's the worst.
Dude, it is the epicenter of loathsome NBA content.
Wynn's mood board is Christian Braun winning a title, and then Eastern Conference basketball in that
shots
gym.
up.
Just
It's the empty calorie gym.
Because it's always Hassan Whiteside shoots a 3 over somebody's buddy.
No, it's
and they're
always Melo.
and
And Russell Westbrook.
Well, usually it's some player, and they'll be so-and-so's ready for the season. And you're like, really? Because the 3.
Well,
He's still not
funny enough,
signed.
you know who was in that gym a lot this summer?
Oh, no.
Bones Highland.
Oh, don't bring down the vibes, you jerk.
I also, man, I love this idea. Holy shit, the pro basketball player was in the lab during the offseason. That's
true.
Good.
He was working on his game.
I love that. Yeah, you didn't just
Yeah.
take 3 months off from your craft. You
No,
actually
he's
practiced
working
it.
out this year.
I have a surprise guy for my next most interesting player of the preseason. He moved up my board today. It was today that he finally moved up a couple spots. Julian Strother.
Let's go.
We talked about Julian less than any of the other 2 rookies over the course of the summer, in part because Summer League, he just missed a lot of his shots or whatever. I'm with Harrison. A lot of buzz about him. Michael Malone giving him multiple shout-outs over the last week, just kind of complimenting him and being more than what people think. I think he's another guy that I don't know how much he'll play. I don't know how much the rookies will play every game. Because when everybody's playing, I do think they're going to be pushed to the side, even in the preseason. But tomorrow, I suspect there's 3 guys that are not playing, between Christian, Jamal, and Michael Porter. I'm not reporting that. There's a chance that happens. And that means that these guys will play. And Strother, to me, I want to see, does he shoot? Because that's one thing everybody says is Hunter Tyson and Julian Strother, people are putting them in the MPJ KCP category of shooters. Just like you wouldn't believe how many this guy makes in practice. Like, it never misses. So I want to see that.
Right.
And then I just want to see, what a good team to test out a guy's ability to guard at the NBA level? The Suns. That's a lot of tough one-on-one matchups. So if he gets to go out there and play, it'd be nice to see how he fares.
Also a team that you might get a lot of open threes against.
Nice.
I mean, Julian Strother was the highest draft pick. He came out of the prestige program. Like, he's the one that people had their eye on the most. You're right. Like, in Summer League, he kind of fell to the background, which I wasn't expecting. Like, my most interesting guy rose in Summer League, but I'm super excited at the idea. That he's been asked to do these things at a very high level, in relation to where he is in his career. Like, college basketball at Gonzaga means something, right?
Yeah.
So I expect him to be better than we saw him in Summer League. And so, I'm with you.
I do too. And I have a lot of confidence that Julian Strother is going to look the part and fit in and not stand out in a bad way with what the Nuggets are doing. He told this great story when he came on the podcast with us in San Diego last week about how at Gonzaga, they made him into a shooter. Like, that became his role. He was a shooter. They kind of cut a lot of the other parts out of his game and were like, for us to succeed, for you to succeed, you're going to be a 3-point shooter for us. That's what you're going to do. And so the fact that he already did that at a program like Gonzaga, and it worked, like Gonzaga had really good teams and he played that role really well, I expect him to fit into his role in the NBA and his role with the Nuggets really seamlessly. And I expect him to buy in and not want to do too much and not want to try to color outside the lines and just really play his role perfectly from day one, because he's already had experience doing that for a program in Gonzaga that runs itself kind of like an NBA team.
Definitely.
Who do you think will have more hype coming out of training camp of the 3 rookies?
Wait, coming out of training camp?
Or coming out of preseason?
Yeah, so I like this question because I wonder if we're about to see things kind of fall back to the natural order of when they were drafted.
Right.
And we kind of almost went in the opposite. And so Strother really coming last on the hype train, but there is likely a reason, right? We know how high Calvin Booth is on Pickett and on Hunter Tyson, but who did he pick first? There's probably a reason for that. And so it'd be cool to see that kind of come to fruition. And then I'm also I think we know sort of the story on who he is coming out of college, what he does well, what he doesn't do well. But does that change at the NBA? Is he able to show more competence around the rim with the ball on the floor? We've already heard good things about where he's been positionally as a defender, which was not part of the rep coming in. So, the fun part about prospects is what's on that report coming out of college is not the story. It's not a finished product. So who is Julian in the NBA? Just interested to get a look at that.
My next most interesting guy is Hunter Tyson.
Definitely.
He has some momentum too. Like, somebody in the chat was saying something like Pickett and Hunter's momentum. I don't think this is true that they've lost momentum or anything like that.
I think he was more talking about with this show specifically.
Yeah, I really actually. Oh, yeah.
With the show.
And Pickett specifically.
Well, I'll tell you, I've heard some really good Pickett stuff over the last couple of days too. Like, there's a lot of hype there. But even for Hunter, I mean, it's just little pockets here. You're not hearing like, oh, he's dominating this or that. But you are hearing the guy doesn't miss. Today, I actually was heard from somebody was telling me just about training camp or this, that, because we get in and watched scrimmage the last day, and Hunter Tyson goes 0 for 2 from 3. I'm told it was the only 2 shots he missed the entire day.
I'm sure it was.
Putting on the anti-show. He's the anti-Michael Porter Jr.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, he shortens up when the lights get bright.
Oh, no, the bright lights of Kale's camera. The
Kale's camera, yeah.
I am excited to see Hunter Tyson. I think he's another guy that's going to get a lot of minutes. Just with some of the injuries or this or that. Like, I think he's going to play a lot. I want to see how he shoots. I want to see who shoots well, man. Out of all these great shooters, I want to see. They're not going to get a lot of chances. That's the extra pressure when you're like Hunter Tyson. You're probably going to get 10 threes in your 5 preseason games.
And sorry, go ahead.
How do you do?
like that Medina Joshua in the chat here is pointing out the obvious, what are the odds all three of these guys hit? Pretty low. All right. So we all have things we like of each three so far, but it'd be really something if Calvin goes 3 for 3 years. So which of these guys is going to emerge at, from here forward at the next level? Because it's different than hitting shots in summer league and looking good in practice. You have to play well in these NBA games, and it may only be one of these guys, right? Two of them renowned shooters so far. Which one of them sticks around as a shooter? We'll find out.
I think Hunter Tyson's going to pop in the preseason, maybe because of his shooting, but also because he plays really hard. And that was another takeaway from watching him in the scrimmage on Friday in San Diego. He flies around out there. And this is another reason why I know Michael Malone loves him and just loves how he plays. He's never coasting. He's never walking back on defense. He sprints everywhere. He plays his ass off. He's flying around out there. And that, I think, is going to pop in the preseason.
It'll definitely pop in the preseason is like one level up of summer league in a lot of ways. Like the main starters aren't playing. People are, they're kind of going through the motions if they've been in the league for a while, just trying to not get hurt. But a guy like Hunter Tyson, he was so impressive in summer league.
He was first team all summer leaguer.
But none of us even had him on our radar. We were like, oh, okay. The hype from the show was very low on Hunter Tyson.
Well, to be fair, I did not know who he was when we did
it.
That's right. To Eric's point, yeah, we didn't know who he was.
But it's Bones Highland popped in summer league. There's been other guys that popped in summer league, but Hunter Tyson popped. His shot was so pure. He didn't miss. He played really hard with no expectations. For a guy to get that level of attention from me, from all of us, and when you're not necessarily even focusing on the fact that he's on the court, but he just becomes undeniable. I'm so excited for what he potentially means to the Denver Nuggets. This season we'll see, but just kind of moving forward, he just seems like, I don't know, one of those guys that you don't really see coming, but then just punches you right in the mouth, and you're like, oh my God.
I think he could be a great Jokic ball player.
Totally.
Too.
Oh, that's his skill set.
His basketball IQ, and he's just pretty good at everything. Good shooter, good mover off the ball, can handle it a little bit, just knows how to play, great basketball IQ. I could just really see him fitting into a Jokic ball offense.
But there's one thing you missed that I think is the key, because there's a handful of guys that are that way, but they don't have this piece. Motor. Competitiveness. Mm-hmm. That's the thing about the Monroe Menace that he has that other people do. Not everybody gets the Menace nickname. Yeah. Not everybody gets a menace. A lot of the Monroe Master or the Monroe whatever. He's the Monroe Menace because he really does play that way. And so that piece to me, the going hard all the time, is the part that I think is going to serve him.
I was going to say it's the Christian Braun school of you'd be surprised how far playing hard can go for you at the NBA level. And I think that's, if you're Hunter Tyson, that you look around at with this team, right? They have pieces A, B, C, D, E. They've got a lot of pieces that fit right where they're supposed to be. Your best shot is to just be that. Though when I'm on the floor, I am everywhere. And I'm not. You won't see me quitting on a play.
I will say, though, I like the Monroe Menace. I wonder if we should edit the nickname slightly to be the Menace from Monroe.
That is way better.
I like that.
During summer league, I was the bro from Monroe. The bro from Monroe.
If you remember Larry Bird's nickname,
he's a bro, though.
I know, but it's
the Hick from French Lick.
The Hick from French Lick. The Menace
and if
from
there's
Monroe.
one comp Hunter Tyson's gotten, it's Larry Bird.
And we're really, let's be clear. We're going to take that and run with it. We think he's Larry Bird.
And we also think he's the Menace from Monroe.
Yeah.
Dude, that was apparent in summer. We were saying that in summer league. I tweeted that 6 times in summer league.
That he's Larry Bird.
Yes, I did. I'll bring up the
I like how
receipts.
we've given ourselves 2 Larry Birds
That's
on the
what
team.
I was like, this team has 2 Larry Birds.
And one of them's also a Tim Duncan.
Let's go. It's unbelievable. I mean, is it so unbelievable? They just ran through the NBA.
He's probably not Larry Bird.
I mean,
but
that would be incredible if he's actually Larry Bird. We're definitely Nuggets are going to reign for a while if he is actually
he could be
Larry Bird.
Baby Bird.
His Larry Bird vibes are that he will join Jokic in a creek. I think that's really
and
what
will just
is.
knock down a jumper in your eye.
They really have more similarities than we thought. Both comp to Larry Bird, both kind of country dudes.
Late picks,
low-key
you know what I mean?
guys.
Slept on.
Great basketball IQs.
All right,
Man,
let's take our last break. Let's take our last break, and then I'm going to restart the Pickett hype. Let's do it. Apparently I haven't been hyping him enough. I'll hype him back up.
He's like the next Allen Iverson.
Pickett?
Yeah.
Oh, man, way better.
Guys, if you're out there and you're not a DNVR diehard member, what are you waiting for? Coolest people out there are DNVR diehards. Get set for Nuggets season. Become a DNVR diehard. There's so many awesome perks that you get. First of all, you get a free t-shirt at sign up, plus a free t-shirt every year designed by this guy, D-Line. 20% off all merch. That's what diehards get. They also get 20% off all events. Tailgates, takeovers, whatever other events we got popping up throughout the year. You get access to the DNVR only Discord, the diehard only Discord. If you're local, you get 15% off your tab here at the DNVR bar. Exclusive merch, a physical diehard card as well, so you're in the club. It's a great membership. It's a great group to be a part of. If you want to become a DNVR diehard, go to thednvr.com, click on Become a Diehard. $6.67 a month for a 1-year membership. That's it.
What a deal.
It's a coffee a month. Become a DNVR diehard. You will not regret it.
We're back.
And we are back. All right, let's talk about Pickett. Pickett's the last guy on my list I'm actually excited about. After that, we start to get into like DeAndre Jordan and Jay Huff and these different things. Pickett,
Braxton Key.
They're Braxton Key, who I'm actually excited about. But Pickett actually, the hype has been slowed by me personally a little bit just because of I'm trying to think of the avenues for guys to play. I think there are more minutes at forward spots, and there are more minutes just into these different places. Pickett, to me, though, remains incredibly fascinating. And what I've heard, first of all, a rookie point guard coming in and having a 10-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio is kind of unheard of.
Pretty Monte Morris-esque right there.
That's crazy.
Pretty Monte Morris-esque to be able to come in right away and have that. Generating open threes is another thing we've heard about him. Is like, hey, when he's on the court, his teams are getting open threes all the time. That's another thing we've heard. And then I've heard that he's actually held his own again in these scrimmages as the week has gone on and been doing these scrimmages. His teams have been collecting wins. I even heard Team White yesterday that featured Jalen Pickett picked up a win over the starters.
Oh, we'd love to hear it.
So, are the starters in trouble?
Yeah, that's it. That's the big takeaway. Yep.
No, so for Jalen Pickett, and I think he's going to play a lot tomorrow, especially if Murray doesn't sit. He'll probably play 15, 20 minutes. I'm excited to see it, man. I thought Jalen Pickett looked great in the summer league. I thought he ran the show very, very well. But you want it. The question is always, is he too small? That's my big question. Yeah. To me, it's the only thing that would keep him from being an NBA player. Is, in my opinion, is he too small? And it's a real question. Tomorrow we'll get to see him go against Bol. Yeah. I'm just gonna keep bringing up Bol.
Jalen Pickett is like
get it in the SEO.
That like his passing, his vision is unquestioned. It's like, will his brand of bully ball work in the lane of an NBA game? Like,
that's a good point.
We saw sort of mixed results in summer league, which you can only believe so much of what you see in summer league, but it did seem like okay, he's got a slow, like intentional way of going about things, but he's able to like got the booty ball thing, he got to bump guys off. It didn't seem like that was necessarily going to be a strategy he's going to be able to rely on, but maybe he will. I don't know. He's certainly crafty enough that you think that he can maybe tailor his game to, work against bigger guys like that. But I'm with you. Like, just to go down, like all three rookies, I'm insanely interested to see like how they like as I think about the Nuggets, like I honestly think about Hunter Tyson and I think about Julian Strawther and
right.
Everybody else is pretty much a known commodity in some sense. And it's those guys have shown us that they have something that makes them like so intriguing. And it's like, man, is this real? Like, is this going to translate?
To the point, Eric, where you're almost glad to hear some guys might not go tomorrow. You hope they're okay first and foremost.
Yeah, but like you got to want to see it.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to sound too smug, but how many questions do you guys have left for the first five?
Oh, I don't care at all. Are you kidding me? I don't. The starters, if we didn't see them once, we will see them. But if we didn't see them, I wouldn't care.
If they looked horrible, I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
and so
Yoke's not shooting. For sure.
The Nuggets questions are this next stuff up, and so it's interesting to me it's exciting to me to be getting a look at them tomorrow.
What's so exciting about all these rookies to me is that all three of them are pretty much ready to go. There's not a whole lot of hand-holding that the Nuggets need to do. In fact, there's like zero hand-holding that the Nuggets need to do with these guys in terms of getting them up to speed with the NBA game, getting them locked into the terminology, studying the playbook. These guys pick that stuff up really fast. They've probably mastered it already because they're older rookies, because they were already seasoned. And I just love that that's the strategy that Calvin Booth took in the draft.
Yeah.
Picking these older rookies who can come in
and
be ready to contribute right away. It honestly blows my mind that more teams don't do it. And
everybody's going for a superstar.
But why would you try that in the late first round, beginning of the second round? Do you know how few superstars come out of those picks? It's like none.
Jokic.
So why wouldn't you get a guy who you just know most likely is going to be solid and be able to contribute sooner? I love that Calvin Booth did that, and I think it's a reason why we can't be excited about all three of these guys early on, because they're ready.
D-Line, I heard an interesting conversation over the last week, which was somebody made the statement, if you're a contender and you're picking in the 20s in the draft, you should never miss. This was the comment. You should never miss. Why? Because if you're a contender, and usually that's when you're picking in the 20s, you already know what your team is and what you need. Usually, if you're another team and you're picking in the 20s, you're like, I don't know what we need, man. We just need everything. Like, hopefully this guy works. We're picking upside. But if you know what you need and you know what your skill set has, then you're less worried about other things and you can zero in on a guy. And I kind of look at, when you're saying you're excited about these rookies, to me, that's it. I don't know that any of them are stars. They might be. Who knows? They might be the next Larry Bird, but to me, they're more likely to be what Denver needs because you know exactly who they are.
And sorry, no, you go ahead, D-Line. That was to you.
I was going to say, like, it's just, this is what it is. This is the luxury of having an established core. Like, this is what you want. Like, if you're doing it right as a GM, you find the tent pole early on in the draft or at number 41 in the second round, whatever. But like you get your guy and then you're like, okay, what does this guy need? And then if you feel strong about the foundation, then you can just be, exactly. Like you can be really you don't have to pick pure upside. You pick specific skill set. Like, okay, we need a guy who's going to be polished. We need people that can come in that aren't going to be demanding the ball. We need people that can come in, can be teachable, can be moldable, and you can start picking for things like, character and things that like, you're not just looking for talent. And like, like this is what turned me onto this team so long ago. And like why I believe so much of what Tim Connelly was doing is that like, I saw the core being established. And I'm like, that's the first step. Like of the steps, that is the first step. You get your core, you lock it in, and then you start to work around the edges. And like now, Calvin Booth coming in with the idea of the established identity of this team is able to just like make like really deft moves. Like he could pick like a Chris Duarte, like in years past where we're like, man, that old rookie, like why would you bring an old rookie in? But it would work on this team.
There's one important exception to this philosophy though. And it's not a but to anything you were saying. It's more of an and. It's interesting to me. Peyton Watson was that kind of a pick last year.
True.
Now superstar might be a bit strong, but high upside, we're not quite as sure. He's younger. We think maybe he'd be a lottery pick next year. This year he's not yet.
Right.
And it's funny as I listen to you guys talk about the rookies and what they do bring and what isn't there. Peyton Watson's still so much younger than those guys and is actually more of that guy. Even you could almost kind of keep him as a part of this rookie class, and he's still the youngest one with maybe some of these more wrinkles to be ironed out, more lessons to learn compared to some of these older crop of rookies. So Watson was, I guess, the home run swing or the double in the gap swing.
Because he came in with Christian.
But so Christian was that safe pick.
And then he like flyer.
But I just think that's interesting, not good or bad, just interesting that Peyton's been the one exception to what has otherwise been Booth's philosophy.
Yeah. The last guy that I'm interested in here, I would say is Braxton Key. I know that's a little bit wild for people that aren't following the team too closely, but Michael Malone really likes him. He's also kind of talked about him, mentioned him a few times. He's a two-way, so it's not like that. I don't expect any of the two-way guys to be guys that like leapfrog rotation pieces this year. But he is a guy that I think could get minutes if there's some like injuries or whatever. He could have a Torrey Craig-esque gets called up, and by all accounts, he sounds like the type of another. These guys are almost all the same, right? Plays hard defense, has great length, high IQ, stays in his lane.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of he'll probably play tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think Torrey Craig is a good comp for him. Just a big dude. I mean, he's 6'8", but he's 225. You know, he's built.
He has a good body on him.
Yeah, he's pretty thick, and he strikes me as more of a 4 than a 3. Also because he's not like a 3-point shooter or anything.
Yeah.
Although I was watching him shoot free throws today, his form looks okay, but not great from 3. Yeah, he's a Torrey Craig type defender, good athlete, good rebounder, just a strong guy. I said this on the show on Friday. He's a bargain on a 2-way contract, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that like most of the players on the second unit are big for their position, with the exception of center. Like then it's like Zeke Nnaji.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then there's
DeAndre, and then Pickett too. But
and then Jay Huff is he on the 2-way?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a 2-way.
He's on the 2-way.
I mean, I am intrigued to see Jay Huff play only because my only reference point is D-line.
Yeah.
Worst player he's ever seen in his life.
I actually thought
I'm
he was
just telling you, man. I'm open to it. I just know that I wasn't looking for Jay Huff. I just
And
watched.
he found him.
I was just watching the Spurs play because I wanted to see Wembanyama. And before that, it was the Rockets, and I was watching my guy play, and I just watched Jay Huff just get obliterated.
Who's your guy?
I actually thought Jay Huff looked good, man.
Tari Eason?
Tari Eason, who looked great in the.
Tari Eason did look good. I actually thought I saw Jay Huff make a lot of great defensive plays at Summer League. That's the thing he can do, apparently. But intriguing for that reason, D-line's lead-in, which is, it's DeAndre Jordan. Do you really want him to play a lot? And Zeke is small, and Vlatko would have been small. So the next step in terms of actual bigs is Jay Huff. Can that translate to the NBA? Does that hold any utility for Denver?
Yeah. All right, hit that outro music for me, Kale. Guys, tomorrow, Little Nuggets basketball. Now, I'm gonna set the stage here.
Emphasis on little.
I'm gonna tell you exactly how it's gonna go. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow all excited. I'm gonna be hyped. We're all gonna be hyped. We're gonna do a pregame show. We're gonna come in. We're gonna watch the game. It's gonna be dope for about 6 minutes.
Yeah, bigger letdown, the hype leading into the first Summer League game or the hype leading into the first preseason
That's
game?
a Sophie's choice right there.
That's a great question.
So
Summer League was just such a big letdown.
It always is. Because
You're
you're
right.
like starved for
You know
basketball.
what? You know what? Summer League is the bigger letdown.
Yeah.
But
What
preseason,
will we
I'm
do
actually
next year?
excited.
What will we do next year?
Oh,
This
we're
roster
going,
looks
baby.
great.
Let's go. I can't wait. No, in all sincerity, I am excited to
especially
watch
if
tomorrow.
Kamikaze
Actually, you know
comes
what
back.
it is? This is an easy sell. I don't know how much he plays. Nikola Jokic is playing basketball tomorrow. I'm in. I'm in. You guys are too. Hit that like button on the way out. Don't forget to check out our Reggie Jackson and Julian Strother interviews from last week. If you missed them, they're absolutely fantastic. You're going to fall in love with Rabbit. Warn you right now, you're going to fall in love with Reggie.
If you're in a committed relationship, ask permission first.
Yeah.
A little house cleaning notes. We are going to be at 3:15 today, obviously. We have a post-game show on Tuesday and Thursday for the preseason games. And we're going to have a 3:15 show on Wednesday. So our new time slot, 3:15, same as our old time slot. We're out of the off-season into the on-season. There you go. We'll see you guys there.
We all silly like the mayor.